Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all fandoms, welcome to the Ferret and Raccoon podcast, episode 56. I am the Young Raccoon.
I'm Ace.
And we are back for the final podcast of February. We survived these 2 weeks within February of, in between podcast 55 and 56, if you want to look up cultural events that happened during then, do so, because we don't expect everyone listening to this immediately, but let's say it's 2019, and you're wondering, hey, I wonder what happened between the 6th of February and the 20th of February. I wonder how the world was coping. Then, yeah, you'll be pleased to know that this podcast continued for many more podcasts, and the two main hosts you hear right now survived.
We did. It's been a tumultuous time.
Yes, we should quickly clarify for anyone who might not necessarily know what we're talking about. Essentially, there was a lot of witch hunting in order for Nazis over the last 2 weeks, and we want none of that. Hence why this podcast is going to be as short as it is, because we'd like to avoid drama for the most part, especially if it's needless. But that stupidness out the way, Ace, how's things been on your front, I would say?
It's been pretty good so far. Also, during those times, we had the Valentine's Day happening, which I actually forgot, it was Valentine's Day.
How could you forget? It was Valentine's Day. It's only the most important event that ever happens in February.
The problem is, I spent the day with a friend, okay? And everywhere I saw people with, flowers and stuff. I was like, what's going on? It's cheap flowers being sold today. And it literally flew over my head the whole day. I don't know how I missed it.
Fair enough.
I'm usually aware to these.
To quote M. Bison, it was just another Tuesday, really.
Pretty much, but,
yeah. Whatever. If people want to celebrate that kind of thing, that's fine, but just don't shove it down people's face, and don't try and make people who aren't having such a good day the bad person, because I know a lot of people really love to do that.
Yeah, literally, you can just get a pizza with your partner, and that's it. You're done.
Or you could tell them you love them every day.
Yeah.
You know, that weird obligation every year. Oh, damn it, I have to tell my partner I love him today. Oh,
it's come so soon, I forgot.
Oh, I've forgotten. That's exactly how the people who forget Valentine's Day speak, for the most part. And I guess it should be said as well. I didn't do anything for Valentine's Day. I went to work and I played some games. That's about it, really. But what I did is not necessarily important, but what... how do I phrase this? How exactly was your Singles Awareness Day, which is the day after?
See, that's me. I only found out that exists once you told me earlier.
Yeah.
It was funny because I spent the day with people, so it wasn't a Single Awareness Day at all.
Yeah, I don't understand. I'd imagine they want this to become somewhat of a awareness for people who are single during Valentine's Day or the day after, or the people who are now single on Valentine's Day.
I hope it's that one. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, or once again, it's just people who are that much in love with their partner, just making fun of people once again.
Yeah.
I think it's the latter, but I do also... my main clue is the fact that the first letter of each three of those words spells out sad.
Yeah.
So it most likely is.
I'd like to hope it's the middle one, because someone forgot to take their girlfriend to see 50 Shades, so she dumped him. That's what I would
imagine, or they watched the film and they were like, can we do that? And one of them said no, and they were like, right, I'm dumping you then.
Yeah.
Because if you're reenacting anything from 50 Shades of Grey, you don't have an imagination.
Or you just don't know how sex works.
Or you've never been on X-Hamster.
Oh, no.
Simply put.
Just show all the names now. Just put a list down for the audience.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so other than that and the whole situation on is he a Nazi? Are they a Nazi?
Yeah.
How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I've managed to watch quite a few things. Besides me being unwell, which is why I watch so much. But I'm a lot better now. In case my voice can't, show that.
Doesn't clarify.
Exactly. I'm going to start off with the most Valentine's thing ever. Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
This is a Western horror film that came out in 2015, starring Kurt Russell.
Oh.
It was written and directed by S. Craig, and I'm going to get this probably wrong, Zahler or Zahler. It's a Zahler, so I'm not sure.
I think you're close.
Yeah. But this film is dark as hell. It's and I'd say very brutal. If you find things squeamish, you're not gonna like this, because I felt squeamish at one part. I saw my brother like literally cringing behind something because it was like, no, that's messed up. But it's essentially the Western involving a kind of very savage, almost outdated tribe of Native Americans, and they do clarify that they're not normal Native Americans.
Okay.
There are other ones, like there's even one. There's an actual Native American within the town that gets attacked earlier. That these guys aren't normal. They're kind of fucked up. So it's not saying Native Americans are weird savage people. It's just saying this one tribe is weird, and they're creepy cannibals and very disturbing. The whole film is brutal. I just want to point that, but really enjoyable.
Okay.
For a Western horror.
Well, that's good to hear then, I guess.
Yeah. And it's also got Patrick Wilson. It's nice to see him in things like Night Owl from Watchmen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice to see him in more.
That's good to hear.
But I'm not really a Western fan in general, so when I do see something good, I enjoy it. Like, it's good to see a good Western.
Cool, I might have to add that to the list in some sense, if it's on DVD.
It probably is.
I hope so.
Because I only found out through my brother, who found out through a work partner, and he gets like DVDs early.
The only reason I say that is because England tends to get gyffed when it comes to releases on that kind of format, so I'm actually wondering whether that's the one they just forgot about.
That's highly possible.
Let's hope not.
The next is the Netflix exclusive, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House.
Oh, yeah.
I finally watched the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because last time I'd only watched about 5 minutes, and it was insanely dull.
Yeah, I remember you saying that as well off air.
It's directed by Osgood Perkins. I've just putting the name out. I actually enjoyed it this time.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I don't know if it was the fever I was having, but it is incredibly slow-paced. It's not very traditional in terms of a horror. I'd actually say it goes back to almost Victorian Gothic horror. Very slow, very meaningful, rather than monster.
So, could it be assumed that the most horrific thing that happens in this film is that, like, a crow hits the window?
Less that, more... There's this really creepy thing just standing there, and we are showing it full body.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's like, what is that thing? Like I'm trying to remember that phantom-looking thing, but no, I get what you mean.
Yeah. It's more that, and it's very classical. It doesn't have a really traditional ending either. It feels abrupt, but it works.
There's no jump scare.
There is one, but it's telegraphed very easily. Like, you'll see it coming. It's like literally she's got the phone to her ear and you see the phone cords being pulled.
Oh.
So when it gets janked out of her hand, you knew it was happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, but very enjoyable. Sad to see it's only a 1 star. I wonder if other people just watched the first 5 minutes like me and then said no.
Well, you have to remember that some people on Netflix have a very short attention span. If there's not an explosion in the first minute, then they're not interested.
And considering the Scream TV show is a 5 star, while the film is a 3.5.
I only have to watch that show to know it's not good.
I watched the first episode, it's horrible.
Because I watched the trailer and I was like, nope.
Yeah. And finally, the show Legion has come out.
Oh, yes.
First 2 episodes are out. I thought there were 3 out, but I was wrong.
We covered that last year, talking about the trailer and how I believe we were all pretty much excited for this series for its potential.
Yeah, and I would say it lives up to that potential.
Good.
It is incredibly fun. It does have a very schizophrenic tone, and that works well with the character.
Something I really wanted.
Yeah. The intro honestly feels like something you'd kind of expect from almost a Trainspotting thing. Like, kind of going through a life of a character in a way.
Okay.
Yeah. It is very much like that in a way. It's hard to describe it without just completely spoiling everything.
Oh, don't.
But the creator of the show, Noah Hawley, he did the Fargo TV shows, and they were very enjoyable.
Good to see him doing something original.
Yeah, and the characters are excellent. I love them.
Are there any characters that hardcore X-Men fans would know, just by name alone or appearance?
funny enough, most of the characters I feel are new, besides the, obviously, David Haller, the central protagonist, being played by Dan Stevens.
Well, that's very promising as well, actually.
As far as I can tell, like, they might exist and I'm just completely unaware of them.
I'm sure even if they exist, I doubt they'd be so fast to be like, oh, I'm doing my signature, superhero move. You know, it might just be name and then have people speculate, are they going to turn out to be the main villain? You know, that kind of thing, which would be smart, if anything.
Yeah, so I was very happy seeing Dan Stevens playing David Haller. Obviously, he was in The Guest. He was excellent in that.
Yeah.
And he shows his range here.
Good.
You don't see the same person. It's great.
No, very much like The Guest.
yeah, exactly. And we have Rachel Keller, who's playing Sydney Barrett, which, if you're a Pink Floyd fan, the name is reference to that. One of the founding members, lead singer. Yeah. Which was a very interesting one, because Pink Floyd definitely seems like an inspiration to the show.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty sure the director was like, let me put that The Wall and let me put some Dark Side of the Moon on back to back, and he just sat there and just went,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he probably watched the film as well of The Wall.
Yeah, probably.
He was like, whoa.
But I will highly recommend this show.
What? It's the first time on the... No, I'm not going to go to that hyper rating kind of stuff, but... I get you. It's definitely something I'm going to check out right now once I finish one of my major projects. It's, I think, one of the only live-action shows I actually want to watch for the most part.
And it's only a 6-episode season, each about 45 minutes to an hour, so it's not going to be a hard thing to catch up with.
Seems like it's going to be a finely crafted show in that sense.
So yeah, that's all that I've been really watching that I'm going to talk about. So, Raccoon, what have you been doing?
Essentially, like I previously mentioned, finishing up the things for that special project I have planned, which I can maybe reveal very soon. But for the most part, I watched some films now, and I actually managed to acquire and watch some films I've been after for quite a while. The first one I want to talk about is Moonrise Kingdom, which is the Wes Anderson 2014 film, coming of age kind of thing, and I managed to see it on Blu-ray, which I've never seen on Blu-ray before, and I was like, oh, I'm picking that up.
Yeah.
Shame the case was busted. But besides presentation, the film was fantastic. Wes Anderson is definitely well known for his style, and his visual style definitely comes through, and I was very impressed with the way the story played out and what it was about, and everything aesthetically worked, especially kind of having like Bruce Willis and Bill Murray. Well, I mean, Bill Murray always acts in a film and does a good performance no matter what he's in, and Bruce Willis actually giving a damn about a performance is actually really cool, and actually being a really likable character is nice. But for anyone who wants a rough knowledge of what it's about, it's essentially about like two 12-year-olds who decide they're going to run away and kind of have somewhat of a honeymoon relationship, while the rest of this little island they live on is like, where the hell are they? Kind of going nuts. If you have seen the Grand Budapest Hotel, I haven't seen it, but I'm guessing, and or Fantastic Mr. Fox, you'll most likely enjoy this. I would imagine. I'm sure you can speak on that.
Yeah, I actually watched Fantastic Mr. Fox first, then Grand Budapest, and then Moonrise. I think they're all brilliant. Yeah. Incredibly well crafted.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, he's really mastered a style that isn't obnoxious.
Yeah.
Which is very rare.
Exactly.
To some extent. The next film I watched was the 2012 remake of Maniac, which I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. I definitely see why a lot of people would like it. I'm not saying I didn't like it, I just was somewhat dumbfounded by it in some sense, but I really enjoyed it. I like what they did with it for the most part, and I like the fact that it was actually a good remake.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's rare for a good remake.
Actually doing something different with it, like the whole aspect of, I mean, if I doubt anyone's seen the 1980 version, but the whole aspect of actually having it done well from the perspective of the killer's eyes, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm actually surprised no one else has really done this with any film. I know there are films where you have seen the character's perspective, like Halloween and that other really obscure one where it's like the person who, and I can't remember the name, so let's just not worry about that. But I really did enjoy it, and I'm really glad I saw it, and I can add it to the list and the opinion of here's good remakes, which are only 3 if I remember correctly.
So I remember when I managed to watch the show, it was like, that film. It was like, wow, interesting remake. Well done.
Someone was actually doing something pretty cool. And once again, a style that isn't quite obnoxious,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. And for some reason I'm on style today. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But, oh well. Somewhat, I guess you could say almost all the films I have to talk about, because I've got 4, are somewhat stylistic. The next one kind of has an old school style, and that's Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Finally, it took me too long to watch this film. Way too long to watch this film.
Oh.
But I finally managed to watch it. I like it more than the first one,
Yeah.
personally. I don't know if there's a consensus of, no, the first one's better, second one's better. I don't know.
Second one is generally seen as the best.
I know a lot of people have given the second one slack for being a remake, but if you do your research, you realise that's not the case. Because people seem to think that everyone from the original film was like, oh, fuck Sam Raimi. And if you talk to all of them, they're like, no.
Yeah.
Where did that even come from? Where did you get that quote?
Yeah.
Basically. But I really loved it. It's coming from a point where horror films could be a lot more than just jump scare fests and horror films. It has a sense of comedy, actually has characters, intrigue, history, backstory, and an actual good cliffhanger ending in some sense that isn't just boo, gotcha.
Yeah.
In that sense, but really love this film. I got to grab a copy of it for myself because I borrowed a friend's one. And the final film I watched, a film which I've been meaning to actually finish watching, but I finally managed to get on DVD, is Exit Through the Gift Shop.
Okay.
The Bansky film.
Yeah.
Not the film about Bansky, but a film by Bansky, because a lot of people don't seem to understand what this film is about, and it's why it gets a lot of flack, because people watch it and go, this isn't about Bansky, the famous London-based graffiti artist.
Oh, Banksy. Sorry, my brain was really confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this film, I don't want to spoil necessarily too much about what it actually is about, but it's essentially about the graffiti art movement and essentially ideals on society regarding said things and art. So it is an interesting film, and it definitely has a very weird kind of narrative, because 2 people are essentially telling the story, Bansky being one of them and someone else being another. Okay. So it is very weird as a documentary, and what it kind of leads up and what its point is about is very interesting, because it's somewhat up for interpretation at the end of the day, which is what I love about it. And yeah, I'm just happy I finally managed to see it, because I only ever saw like the last 20 minutes of it, unfortunately, back when it was on TV, but now I finally saw it, and the whole picture makes sense now, which is good. But I would highly recommend it if you are into art, design, graffiti, if you love Bansky, if you love anything to do with, even if you love documentaries. I think it's a fantastic documentary, even at that. But that's essentially all that I've watched that I want to share for the most part.
Definitely need to check that one out. I think it's actually on Netflix. I just never realised what it was about, so...
Yeah, a lot of, like I said, a lot of people think it's a film about Bansky, but it's more a film supposedly made by Bansky, and that's why a lot of people say the film is fake.
Oh, okay.
And I think the only fake aspect of it is how Bansky is seen.
Yeah.
Because when he is being talked to, much like in a lot of documentaries, he's just a black face with an androgynous voice.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say that that's probably not Bansky, or that or in some sense people are saying the film has some kind of weird, deeper meaning where he's actually just making a fool out of the audience or some rubbish like that. But I don't think that's the case, especially given what actually happened. But would strongly recommend that film if you get the chance to watch it. So that's moving on to our topics and news stories, which we have all but about 5, which is fantastic. Because we don't care about people getting angry about the Dear White People TV series, or the idea that certain YouTubers might be racist, because guess what? I don't care enough.
Yeah, and the free market dictates what it wants, so...
Yes.
That's why
let's talk about something that's actually interesting for once and not predictable, hopefully. And that is that Syfy essentially has a new reality competition series called Cosplay Melee, which essentially is going to be starting on the 21st of March this year, 2017, in case you're listening in some other bizarre year and you want to catch up on the series because you've never watched it before. And essentially it's going to follow, and I'm going to use the rabbit ears or quotation marks, world-class cosplayers, as they are essentially up against each other to create cosplays, props, and all these kinds of things in a bid to win £10,000, which I find quite funny because I'm pretty sure some of these world-class cosplayers spend about $10,000 on their cosplays. But so I was pretty happy to hear about this, and I'm actually pretty happy that there's more mainstream attention coming to the art of cosplay, which is pretty cool, I think. And it's very interesting that once again Syfy is actually going to be the platform to do this, because much like the first thing this reminded me of was Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge.
Yeah, I actually remember you telling me that. That's my first thought when I found out about
which
this.
is a great show to watch, and I'm kind of hoping that with this series, because there's only 4 contestants, so I'm not sure how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of hoping that they actually go into some of the craft and it's actually informative about. So people who want to get into cosplaying or do cosplay can actually go, oh, so that's how you'd make bat wings, or that's how you would make a helmet that would fit your head or something like that. I'm hoping that it does that. I mean, it might not, but who knows. The only issue I have with this series so far, because there is a trailer, which we're going to put in the description, but I would recommend not watching it because I think it spoils way too much.
Okay.
As in, if you freeze frame, you could see every cosplay they're going to make. That kind of spoiler. So, if you want to watch this series, please don't watch the trailer, or at least don't watch the last 30 seconds.
Okay.
For the most part. I have an issue with the judges.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with Christian Buckman. Don't have an issue with him.
He's a Hollywood costume designer.
I think his stuff is great. Nor do I have an issue with Yvette Nicole Brown. I think she's great. I love the fact that she's going to be a judge and maybe presenting.
Yeah. Was she from Community?
Yes. She is.
She was very enjoyable on that show.
I think it's great because I love her. I love her passion and I love her smile. So that's perfect. The only issue I have is with Lee Ann Vamp.
Oh, the cosplayer.
Yeah, I didn't know who she was.
Okay.
I've never heard of her. Yeah. And after looking her up, I would rather them get someone else, like Jessica Nigri. I know that's a slightly more generic answer, but...
It's a mainstream person who's known for...
It's a mainstream person who, and this is where people might get upset, who's known for doing a variety of cosplays. Yeah. Which is why I think they should have her instead, because... Yeah. Jessica Nigri has done about 50 different costumes.
Possibly even more.
I'm just using it as an example compared to Vamp, who I don't think has done too much and has a very strong theme regarding most of them. 2 themes, to be more precise.
Okay.
But that's my only issue. I'm sure she's a nice person, and I'm sure the show is going to be fine. It's just, if I was picking someone, that's who I would go for, and I would definitely have her on the show, but maybe not as one of the judges. That's all.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to this. I'll probably give it a watch whenever it comes out. Oh, 21st of March. That's when it comes out, Raccoon.
So literally everything's coming out in March still.
Yeah, pretty much. Some things just don't stand a chance.
No.
I'm kind of hoping that after this show hopefully does well and puts cosplay in more of a better position, because I don't think too many people look down on like cosplay except for religious nuts who are attack conventions because they're stupid. Yeah. I would kind of like to see them do more stuff and slightly more niche stuff. Like I'd love to see like maybe some kind of anime thing, or maybe even a show like this, but instead of making cosplays, they're just making fursuits and they have to make the most lavish and extreme ones ever, just to give that kind of weird subculture more positive exposure. Because a lot of people will throw shade at, let's say, furries, but if you look at their costumes, it's like I'd imagine it would take a lot of time to make.
So, I get you.
But yeah, I mean, real quick, while we're on the topic, is there any cosplays you would like to see them possibly make, or any cosplays you've seen that is like, that is the best one I've ever seen? Because I've got 2 or 3 I can think of.
You start. I'm gonna have a quick think of that.
One of my favorite ones, and I don't know the girl who was it, but I remember this girl did a Gizmo from Gremlins cosplay.
Oh, that sounds
and
cool.
It was awesome because she had like all the fur all around her and all that, and she kind of was like the sense where Gizmo's head was on her head basically, but it looked like him, and you could tell from a mile away that was a Gizmo, which I thought was pretty awesome. That's probably one of my favorite ones. Another one I've seen I've got my 2 favorites, is this other lady did a cosplay of the character Spooky Boogie from, I can't remember the anime, but if you look at the character Spooky Boogie, it's like a really weird, tall cat thing with an eye patch and a jacket, and it has a safety pin through its neck, and she managed to do that, and I was like, oh. And too right, she won the award for cosplay of that year because it's fantastic. Those 2 would probably be my favorite cosplays I've ever seen. I doubt anyone's gonna create them on this show, but just for reference, if you want to go find them, then go ahead.
I think I'd definitely like to see someone do trombone, And I
Tron
mean,
Bonne,
with the mech.
With the mech, that would be awesome.
Like, I think that could be, like, obviously the mech could be smaller, so it like goes up to half their body.
Yeah.
But just have the width, so their legs are actually in the leg part of the mech.
That could work. Or you could get a kid dressed up as Tron Bonne and make a small version of her craft.
That could be pretty cool.
You know, you could restructure one of the tricycle kinds of things so the kid could just be riding around in that, and you could just have servbots as tin cans just behind her or something like that. Oh man, we need to get the we need to blueprint this real quick.
Contact Capcom. Capcom.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't have to bring Mega Man back, but
we got some Tron Bonne.
We got something you might be interested in. I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom 4 is coming out, so some promotion. Get your Skanigri to do it, you know.
Yeah.
That kind of. Oh man, you'd be surprised. We don't actually work in marketing.
Yeah. Despite the sheer amount of great ideas we come up with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someday someone's gonna pillage these ideas.
Possible.
But guess right, copyright 2017. You owe me money. But yeah, let's move on to our next topic, which is one of two trailers, which I believe you're covering, Ace.
Yeah, so there's going to be a show in 2017 starring everyone's favourite William, Bill Nye, Saving the World. Bill Nye Saves the World, the full title.
Mm-hmm.
Just from the trailer, right, it's going to be fun as hell.
I hope so.
Like, considering we'll tackle, like, all the, I'm trying to think of the right word here. All of the subjects that he's tackling. So, sex and then genetically modified, what was it exactly? It was GMOs. I can't remember what the O stands for at all.
Organisms.
I can't remember, but sure, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be great. It should be fun.
I'm really happy Bill is back.
Yeah.
Because something I realized when watching the trailer was like, he makes learning fun.
Yeah.
And that's something that doesn't really exist on television right now, is actual educational shows for kids for about over the age of 10 that are actually fun. And I'm like, did education like lose? I understand the education system is not in a good position right now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, damn, is like no one even trying right now? So hopefully Bill will be the guy who does, because I mean, I think he's the perfect candidate. The series seems like it's also going to be for everyone, but particularly more slightly linked towards like adults in that kind of sense, which makes sense. Everyone watches Netflix, particularly adults. I think it's like 18 to 30 is like the biggest demographic for Netflix, if I remember correctly. I know all these stats, but I think it's. I mean, I like the fact that it's kind of like it's an original kind of spin on his original show, which is Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah.
Which is cool to kind of see him come back, but it seems like it's going to be live with a live audience, people participating, celebrity guests, which could be the only thing that could sink the show. But then again, I'm sure they're not going to be there all day if some of them are annoying. I saw most of them and I was like, "Who is that?"
Yeah. I didn't recognise them, but I think that's kind of a good thing.
Yes, I think, yeah.
Because we're not just going to get people on a show. It's like, oh my god, I know the science.
Yeah, or going to get someone who's so big to the point where it's distracting.
Yeah.
In that sense, which is fine. I also kind of hope that in some sense Bill does actually save the world.
Yeah, that would be great.
Whether that's going to be educating dumbasses as to why they're dumb, or it's actually going to be him exploring scientific ideas that could actually save this species and planets. I hope so, because if you look at Bill Nye, ever since his show finished and since the rise of media, he's definitely been a very vocal person, actually just throwing the slam down on dumbasses who are just like, oh man, but science is nothing. I know. Yeah. And that's their argument, is just I know, and that's just like, shut up.
People should check his Twitter. It is incredibly entertaining.
People should check some of the speeches he's done as well on certain people who think they know better.
Yeah.
And the guy does it He does it at a very passionate pace that never becomes too nasty, but you can kind of tell if they want to throw down, he will throw down very quickly. He's kind of like a nice Neil deGrasse Tyson who doesn't ruin Star Wars, basically. For anyone who's not familiar with him, because Neil deGrasse Tyson likes to ruin everything, except for when people claim the world is flat.
Oh yeah.
And that was funny. I think we reported on that when I'm gonna say this and I don't care what you think. Former rapper B.O.B. was like, yeah, well the world is flat. And he was like, no, it's not.
Like his talent.
Yes, pretty much. He made one song that's pretty popular, and it's so popular I can't even remember it.
All I remember is the Airplane song. That was him and Hayley Williams, and then there was an Eminem third one as well.
I don't even know what the hell that is, but he ain't making another record deal because trust me, if I was the head of the label, I'd be like, yes, do you think the world is flat? Do you? Get your head out your ass, basically. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Same.
I hope it's something that just continues, and hopefully maybe it kind of adds a boost into science. I know the people are going to come out and be like, devils and Bill Nye is all about the witchcraft and all this stupidness, because if you don't understand something, then it's obviously the work of the devil. Been very against Christianity this podcast.
You have.
And I think that's simply because they're very stupid, a lot of them, some of the time.
Unfortunately, yeah, you'd think with a religion that's supposed to be very, positive towards, their neighbours and everything.
Yeah, the one rule to get you into heaven is love thy neighbour, and most of you fuckers can't even do it.
Yeah, it seems incredibly hypocritical.
Yes. Well, as is those kinds of people.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for another day, because I'm pretty sure right now, because I've said something bad, this podcast is witchcraft. Moving on to our next trailer, also a Netflix trailer for another TV series, and that is Buddy Thunderstruck, which is essentially a stop-motion TV series that is coming from the creator of the more recent Care Bears series and the studio behind Robot Chicken, in case you didn't know. And once I saw these two combinations of ideas and names, I was immediately like, I'm in. I'm good. I mean, I only have to see that first 20 seconds to be like, okay, let's go. Let's go. You've really got my attention.
Yeah.
I just need to impress me. And it's pretty cool. I looked it up because the one thing that was quite kind of cool with the trailer is it doesn't really spoil much.
Yeah.
But essentially it follows Buddy, who's essentially a semi-truck racing dog in a town that is essentially obsessed with semi-truck racing.
Yeah.
Which what is the town? Yeah, the town is called Grease Pit, of course.
Yeah, makes sense.
And just watching it, I was like, oh, this show looks like it's going to be so fun. I want to see all the adventures that this egotistical maybe jerk is going to have in this series, because I was very much impressed with what could happen in this series, because once again, they don't spoil much.
Yeah. So I thought the animation looked really nice. Obviously, Robot Chicken's animator is doing good work there.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the tone was kind of off for me. It felt like something I wouldn't enjoy. It wasn't the kind of humor I like.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't stick it for me.
Mm.
But I'm still going to give the show a chance. I'll check out the first episode.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because once again, I'm still going to stick with this. I think they're not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
I think they just want to throw the bare minimum concept at you to hopefully get people, because there wasn't a lot of comedy and there wasn't a lot of jokes. It's just kind of a bunch of scenes that aren't that funny. But I think with good writing and some other kinds of things, I'm pretty sure they might be leading to a bigger thing. We might see another BoJack Horseman on our hands, perhaps, in that sense.
Hopefully.
The animation is good. I like the fact that they look like knitted characters just come to life, which also adds into them being animals and their fur in some sense, which I think was a very smart move for them to do that. But it looks very weird because I've never really seen knitted characters move like that, because it's very fluid.
Yeah.
And I really like the look of the characters as well. When Buddy is this weird dog guy in a NASCAR racing kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if they all act like that, and I don't know if people are going to get pissed off, but that's how I see them in general. So it's kind of good they're living up to the stereotype. I also like the fact that his mechanic is an albino squirrel, which is pretty cool.
That's quite amusing. And
just other random animals are going to get involved with. They need to make more Dukes of Hazzard and Starsky and Hutch references. If they aren't references to that, I'll be very displeased. That'll be an immediately 1 out of 10.
Okay.
I have to put my foot down on that.
Yeah.
So it's not too late. I know you guys are still finishing the series, so make sure you add that in to appease the one person.
Now, talking about putting our foot down.
Oh.
So, recently, for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has announced a DLC pass, which will be about $20 to £18. The thing is, obviously, some of these are already content that you can get on day one as part of the DLC pass, which has instantly set it in a wrong foot for me.
Yes, I think we should. Do you want to read out the stuff? Yeah. Okay, go on then.
So the first part, which is you can only get this as part of the expansion pass, as far as I've read, is 3 new treasure chests that will appear in the game. And at least one of them will contain a Nintendo Switch top for Link to wear. I don't know if that's a t-shirt or a tunic or what, but...
Tank top.
Yeah, possibly. But the other two parts of the DLC, which are in the past, one comes out in summer, and it'll include a new challenge for the Cave of Trials, a new hard mode, so I don't know if that's just hard mode in general or a new version of it, and additional map features, which sounds really weird.
Yeah, I can only imagine it might just be, there's a challenge over here in the West.
Yeah. And then in holiday of 2017, so I presume around Christmas, there's a new story piece being put in the game, new dungeon, and an additional challenge.
Yeah, nothing special, and honestly.
It sounds very lackluster for £18.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, a campaign of about 10 extra hours would be £18 if it was story relevant. I'm just talking in terms of DLC expansions in the past.
But considering part of that is one new dungeon.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a really massive dungeon or what? Because that seems like it'll be a very short story.
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, I really don't care about DLC.
Yeah.
And I know you're probably, why are you putting this on the story? We want to talk about it essentially because it's rather depressing and sad to have Nintendo essentially dive into this kind of practice.
Yeah.
Especially as soon as this is nothing. Really? Yeah. Like, obviously, we don't know what it can contain. Maybe the story DLC is like 50 hours of additional content.
Yeah.
Sure. Whatever. But at the same time, Nintendo doesn't really need to go down that trap and unfortunately appeal to, I'll say it, the lower people in that sense who just want to buy everything for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, just as a reminder, this is not the first time Nintendo has done DLC.
No.
They went absolutely crazy with Fire Emblem Awakening and Fates and a few
Smash
other
Bros.
Games. Yes, we're just... Fire Emblem is so much. Fire Emblem Awakening was the first Nintendo game to have DLC.
Oh, jeez.
And they had quite a bit of it. More maps, story maps, not necessarily kind of characters and all that kind of stuff, but it was very cheap.
Yeah.
Like the most expensive thing you could buy was £2. Everything else was like 75p, £1.25, that kind of stuff. Yeah. You wouldn't go bankrupt if you bought it all, essentially. You'd probably only need like about, I don't know, £40, if anything.
Yeah.
If you wanted it all for some bizarre reason. But this, it doesn't honestly seem worth it.
No.
And I understand that Nintendo is in a position where they're not necessarily as relevant as they used to be. And I understand that they want to catch up to Sony and Microsoft and kind of be there. But doing that isn't going to do anything because you just alienated those who are affiliated and are aware of these annoying practices.
And like, it doesn't really start a good precedent for the new game.
No.
And considering also that one like character, I guess like a supporting character, is already locked behind an amiibo, being the Wolf Link, it isn't really that great.
No, it's not promising, and it's coming from a franchise that honestly doesn't need it.
No, it doesn't.
It's somewhat hypocritical for you to say that you can go anywhere and do anything in this game, and then go, no, actually you can't.
Yeah.
Because you need to give me £20.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, and I understand. It's like a new beginning of like DLC because is the same thing going to happen with the rest of the Zelda games? Yeah, exactly. Oh, Darkness World is going to cost you £12. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's a shame because you look at, even speaking of Nintendo and Mario, you look at Super Mario 3D World on the Wii, and that game has too many levels. Some would argue, maybe we won't get that in Odyssey. Maybe those last 25 levels will be locked behind a wall.
Yeah.
We obviously do have an issue with DLC because we think it's a very annoying practice because at the end of the day, sometimes people can get gyffed from their jobs because of it, because what they tend to do is they will make the finished game and then break off sections of the game and they won't pay the people who made the game for that additional content. The studios and the higher-ups will make that additional money. So essentially, that's what happens. Obviously, it doesn't happen all the time. There are examples of good DLC. There's too many examples of bad DLC.
Yeah. And
it's very distressing because you shouldn't be forced, at least we feel, you shouldn't be forced to pay less and less. Sorry, to pay more and more for less and less.
Yeah.
Because if this is successful, and I know these fanboys are gonna go out and buy it, then your next Zelda game will be 5 hours long. And you'll be complaining about why is it 5 hours long, and Nintendo's answer will be like, well, you wait until summer 2019 because we got a DLC pack and we got new characters and a new dungeon that takes you 30 minutes to beat, and we're going to spoon feed you for the next 2 years until the next Zelda game comes out.
Zelda isn't a game anymore. It's an experience that gets better over time. AKA Destiny.
I would strongly disagree with that because Destiny was a piece of shit, and I honestly don't care if anyone is going to get angry at that because I think anyone and everyone who has ever played Destiny knows it's fucking shit.
Yeah.
Simply put. That was a scam, one of the biggest scams in the gaming industry, more of a scam than No Man's Sky. At least they fucking made a game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Destiny gave you the bare minimum and said, £40 please.
Yeah. At least, as I said, No Man's Sky's okay for a few hour play.
Yeah.
That's it.
But no, I'm not happy with this, especially coming from Nintendo. Nintendo are the guys who you would expect to just make good games, and now they're not going to do that. I mean, what if this happens to fucking Pokemon?
Well, as I already said, it kind of already had with the Snorlax.
But I'm talking on a bigger scale.
Exactly. That's when the little stuff like that gets accepted, it then goes on to the bigger scale, and then bigger. So next you're going to have half a region in Pokemon.
Let's hope not.
You know, the extra...
£10 to complete your Pokedex.
You know how, like, the Power Plant and Seafoam Cave in the original Pokemon games, they were just there?
Yeah.
That's going to be bonus content that you pay DLC next.
DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, even a lot of the additional content that Nintendo has actually added into its games have been free for the most part. They were just like, yeah, have this. And it's a shame. I still think they're going to do that in some sense, but I think those will be like very small. Something a lot of people might not realize is the reason why DLC is even priced is because Microsoft and Sony can't get along.
Yeah.
Simply put, Microsoft very strongly believe that you should always pay for DLC because they make money off that. Sony has sometimes been okay with free DLC, but because them two can't get along, the developers are forced to essentially meet in the middle and say, right, so it has to be paid for everyone.
Yeah.
There are companies who have said, you can have this free or DLC, you can have that free or DLC, but they can't because Microsoft will say, well then, you can't have it then.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what has happened a couple of times. Studios have fought Microsoft a lot of the time to get things done. I remember there was one situation where I think Borderlands 2, 2K, Gearbox were trying to have something happen. They were trying to get another DLC out, and Microsoft was like, no, you need to charge it this way. To which 2K/2Gear threatened them by saying, well, fine, we'll switch everyone on the Microsoft server to the Sony server then. And they said, okay, we'll let you charge it £5. Essentially, that's what happened. The studios have to blackmail these two in order to get something. I know Rocksteady have given out plenty of free DLC. They're like the only people who can because they're just that big.
And CD Projekt Red, which, I mean, that's the thing. Witcher 3 was unanimously the best, like, 2016 game, even if I don't agree. And it had shitloads of free... It had 16 free DLC and then 2 actual expansion packs.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can do that and still profit.
Yeah, and we're not against DLC in terms of it being good, because there's DLC I've paid and bought for, and I've been like, yeah, I got money with Borderlands and Borderlands 2. Fantastic DLC.
Dragon Age Awakening, best expansion pack I've ever bought.
And you know what makes those DLCs great? They finished the game, and then the team went, okay, what do we do for the DLC? Yeah. And then the same team who made the game worked on that DLC. That's why it took so long to come out, because they made it.
And that DLC had extra skills, extra everything. I was so surprised by the new stuff that I wish was in the original.
Borderlands 1 and 2 had massive campaigns that could last you about 20 hours. New guns, new quests, new chances for you to level up. Mainly because it came out after the game. It wasn't just, well, let's lock off this section and then you pay £10 for us later. No, it was a new experience, and that's what I'd want DLC to be. Yeah. This, with Zelda, does not sound like a new experience. It sounds like shit that was just taken away from the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is this dungeon not in the game?
Why is this tiny story dungeon?
Yeah, why is this not a quest by another character who you have to beat the game on hard mode to get? I'd rather have that. I know it kind of get mixed, and I know Capcom has the Resident Evil 7 DLC, which is very weird. I mean, I know there is free DLC, which I hope is story relevant.
Okay.
It might be because it has relevance to the ending. I'm not going to spoil that, obviously. Some of it is very stupid, but at the same time, a lot of Resident Evil 7's DLC feels like DLC. Okay. They're not trying to go, oh yeah, this is something. It just feels like other sections that technically probably wouldn't have fit in the game, would have felt random. But I don't. From what I've seen, it's not terribly expensive. They're not going, here's £20 for a card game, which is one of the DLCs.
I haven't looked too much into Resident Evil 7's DLC, so I can't really comment on that.
It's nothing you would miss.
Okay.
So far, there's only one, which is one titled Daughters.
Yeah.
Which, if you're a super fan of Resident Evil 7, you really liked it, you might want to play that. But other than that, so far.
Yeah.
But that's our main issue. DLC is obviously a very touchy subject with a lot of people. We keep saying, or some people keep saying, oh, why do people still like it? Obviously, someone is unfortunately buying it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and essentially it comes down to talking with your wallet for the most part. If you don't buy it, they will stop doing it, but people keep doing it. Because some people are so desperate for anything to play on their lackluster consoles called the PS4 and the Xbox One that they'll buy anything. And I also blame a lot of the Let's Players as well because they buy it.
Yeah.
Because their fans aren't going to pay for it. And their fans want to see it.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's essentially what happens sometimes, and it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But it's kind of, as a final note, it's kind of a tricky issue because in some sense, you might want to buy this DLC to support Nintendo because they're not doing so well because, hey, Breath of the Wild was a really good game and you want to show Nintendo you love them and this was a great game. But at the same time, you might want to not buy the DLC and not give them the money because this practice is a fraud.
Yeah, like, for one, season passes in general, you don't support something...
I've never bought a season pass, I don't think.
Don't give money when you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
That's one of the stupidest things you can do.
I tell a lie. I think I technically got a season pass, and I think that was for Bioshock Infinite.
Okay.
And I think that was only because I bought it on the day, and I have the special edition, so they were just like, here it is anyway.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't cost me any extra.
Yeah.
It didn't cost me any more than the special edition, which was only £20 more than the game.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and that DLC was alright.
I haven't bought any season pass as far as I can remember. I just never understood the practice.
No, I don't get it either. Because the idea of it being out and then it just randomly starts downloading freaks me out.
Yeah. And just the fact of, like, most of the time now, I just wait till a game's out fully and get it. Like, I don't own Dark Souls 3 on PS4 because I'm waiting for the complete edition that comes out in April.
Fair enough. And I personally don't like Game of the Year editions. I'd much rather just buy it separately because sometimes it can look weird on my shelf.
I understand.
But there are exceptions. But yeah, that's a big issue. I mean, obviously, DLC gaming industry is going to be a big issue, and it's very rare for us to talk about games on this podcast of recent. But it's good to hear. But let's move on from this story for our final general topic, and that's something that I haven't actually told Ace about because I recently discovered it, and when I read it and did a little bit of research, I was like, man, this would be so much more interesting if I just didn't tell him.
Go on.
So, essentially, because I'm going to say it and you're going to be like, what? Essentially, it seems that in Australia there is going to be a meme festival coming very soon. Yes, a festival dedicated just to internet cultural-based memes called Meme Fest, and it's going to be on April 21st. And I really wanted to read the description on the Everbright page, which is... it's something, I'll say this, and excuse me if I sound a bit different as I read this from my laptop screen, and it says, sorry, have you got to get away from your crazy girlfriend and for the night, or you just cray-cray for Harambe?
Oh no.
We are holding a meme fest to celebrate all of the beloved memes, from Bad Luck Brian to Successful Baby and every meme in between.
Oh, this sounds hilariously like bad.
My voice is going, there's more. Help celebrate the night by coming dressed up as your favorite memes and topping it off with our meme cutouts and face masks. There will also be some prizes for best dressed on the night, so make sure to channel your inner Yao Ming and remember to pay attention to all the memes visuals. And if you're still keen for more memes, then look no further than our meme-themed drinks and free photo booth.
Oh, wow.
Final section. This is possibly the worst section. Hop on down, just like Pepe the Frog, and spend your night listening to all the things Rick Ashley is never gonna do. Don't forget your sunglasses for Take Me Out. This is the worst part. Be there or cash me outside. How about Dash? So that's Meme Fest.
All right, I'm getting my plane ticket.
Yeah, yeah, that's Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
Happening on the 21st of April, and yeah, I have no idea what I mean. I would say that I can't believe this is happening, but I don't know if it actually is happening. It might not be real.
It could just be a meme.
And that's what some people have said on the Facebook comment sections for this page, which I'm going to link in the description. And yeah, I don't know if this is real or this is going to be the most ironic meme ever.
This should be interesting.
It gets slightly worse because given the sheer ridiculousness of a meme festival, a meme convention, the Time Out magazine essentially wrote an article on this, and I want to read this as well because I think it is truly something special. The title was titled "Oh my God, a meme festival is coming to Melbourne," and it reads, "Praise be to Harambe. We haven't been this excited since we witnessed a double rainbow."
Oh no.
A Facebook event has appeared for Meme Fest, a party coming to Melbourne, and gotta get down on Friday the 21st. 21st, dedicated to all things meme, from Keyboard Cat to Pepe. Not only mask prizes and best dressed, named themes, drinks, and photo booths. It's going to be cooler than Daniel and his sneakers.
Oh no. Not damn Daniel.
So don't hide your kids or your wife. Roll like that boy and register your details to keep up to date with development. Much laugh, such meme. This is from Time Out magazine, a somewhat respected journalistic magazine. Good Lord.
I'm embracing all the badness. I love it.
It's a special kind of bad, but it works. I hope if someone is listening and someone is going to go to this convention, please, if it does happen, if anything happens, please record it. Please upload it. Please send it to us. I mean, our email is raccoonplusfriends@gmail.com. Put it on the internet, share it, please. I don't know if it's going to be real. I don't know if I want it to happen. I'm not sure if it's going to be another DashCon, the infamous DashCon, where essentially it was somewhat similar, where it was hyped up to be this somewhat interesting convention, and all it ended up being was a rented out hall and a ball pit. And a tiny one at that. Look up DashCon because it's rather interesting. But even if it is another DashCon, that's fine by me.
What if that's the whole point?
I honestly think the whole point is for it to be the most ironic thing in all of internet-based culture. That's what I think it's going to be. I think people are going to show up because I think tickets are priced. I think people will show up, but I think the convention itself will be a disappointment, and there will be tons of people hopefully filming.
Yeah.
Just to see the reaction. I'm pretty sure there's going to be people dressed as memes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it's going to sound kind of touchy, but I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be white.
Yeah. It's going to be the ironic hipster crowd.
Yeah, most likely. I got my, Angry Cat shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
And look at my disgusting mustache because I'm a hipster.
And I'm going to grow my beard out and yet have the most styled hair.
And I'm going to claim to understand the world. But really, I don't understand anything.
I don't even understand my own name.
Okay.
Ben.
But yes, it was more about the reaction to this meme fest, which is still a concept which I find hard to grasp.
I still want it to be real. I'm hoping. I want it to be an actual festival and people to go there.
I would recommend checking out the Facebook page and looking at all the comments because it is a minefield over there of just memes and too much stuff. Okay. We could do another podcast just reading the comments, simply put. But that pretty much ends our general topics, and we are now moving on to our now working title section, titled Ace's Corner.
Yeah, I have two very interesting topics to talk about. One is my ongoing kind of, I guess,
Battle
with Mass Effect Andromeda, because there's been some issues with this so far.
Oh, tell me about it.
So, Mass Effect Andromeda, part of the new game by BioWare, and the European Space Agency have teamed up to spend 6 Europeans to space camp for 3 days. Not to space, even though one of them, Jane, I believe, thought she was going to space. And one of the people on her...
I'm sorry, Jane, are you that dense?
No, one of the actual people on Outside Xbox, because that's the channel she's on, had to clarify she's not going to space, and she looked so disappointed.
Can we put that in the description, please?
Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Please.
I don't know if it's out of context or it was a joke, but it got me too much there.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so the 6 people being sent to space camp
Sorry, I keep laughing. Sorry, go on.
Squeezy, a YouTuber from France, the Gref G, a YouTuber from Spain. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. Pete's Meat, I think, a YouTuber from Germany. Obviously, Jade from Outside Xbox, who's a YouTuber in the UK. Syfy, a YouTuber from Poland, and Stefan, another UK YouTuber. Now, it's quite obvious what BioWare's doing here. It's a very expensive publicity stunt.
Yeah. Where's the black people though?
Huh? Oh, trust me. Do you think BioWare's going to go, get the urban demographic?
Urban market. Yeah.
No.
Well, if they wanted it to actually be, because the one thing with this Ace's Corner is I'm obviously going to be throwing questions your way. If they wanted it to be an effective one, they should have put an Asian person, they should have put a black person there, they should have clarified that a female is gay, and they should have also clarified that someone is transgender. That way they appease everyone. And you need to make sure that at some point someone says, fuck, I hate Donald Trump.
Yeah. But
how else are you going to get people to buy your game? Come on now.
It's very true here. But the weird thing is, and do you remember when Watch Dogs was coming out?
No. Oh, do I?
Yeah. And remember there was that very, big publicity thing of, oh my god, we're actually hacking things and all that kind of shit. Mm. And it was everywhere and it became like a meme thing and people didn't realise it was a game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, do you remember how many pre-order bundles and different sets you could get for Watch Dogs that you need to graph?
Like 4 or so, some rubbish like that.
There were 10.
Oh, God.
Guess how many there are for Mass Effect Andromeda?
23.
Nope. There's about, I think, 8 or 9 different ones. 8 or 9 different pre-order sets.
Oh, that's upsetting.
Yeah. And I'm going to go through them. I'll tackle PC first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. PC has an Audition, a deluxe one, which has a few bonus things. I think customizable skin and an outfit. Like one for your car, one for your character. And then the Super Deluxe, which has multiplayer bonus stuff. Because, got to have all the multiplayer
Mass
bonuses.
Effect, prolific and known for its multiplayer.
I will say Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was fun, but that wasn't the reason I bought the game.
Oh yeah, that went to the MLG, right, if I remember correctly?
Yeah.
It was the highest.
It was.
Of course.
But that's the PC ones. So now we get the console. We've got the Standard Edition. We've got the Deluxe one, which is the same as the PC Deluxe. Then we've got the Collector's Edition that doesn't have the game.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. It's got the RC car and a steelbook, but it doesn't have the game. Okay. Then we get the deluxe one of that, which I think has, it does have the game. Yeah. Okay. Then we've got the Super Collector's Edition ones, which has the RC car, the game, the steelbook, and the DLC, like stuff, that's in the normal deluxe ones. And then there was another one, I can't remember what that was. But that's... Oh yeah, I think the other one was all of that stuff, but without the game. Yeah. And I think the
You want to buy Mass Effect Andromeda with or without the game?
Yeah, pretty much. This is really sounding like the EA stuff. The dumb, stupid EA stuff. Over-marketing something and just filling it with so much shit.
It makes you wonder if the game is going to have any substance at all.
Well, we only just saw gameplay, I think, 2 days ago.
And this game comes out, like, what, next week?
Next month, funny enough.
Are you serious?
Yeah, next month. March like 21st.
I
I
thought
think.
this game was coming out in July.
No, it's coming out next month.
They have hidden that gameplay nicely.
Yeah, they've only just showed it, and I will say this: the combat looks better than it's been before. But where's the role-playing elements?
Oh, don't you remember? There was some great role-playing elements. Remember that scene where they showed where the female character took the gun off the other character and the animation was just so fluid and so fresh? I mean, I can tell it was good and fresh because it's not as if I spend hours looking at animations and frame.
Yeah, that was piss poor.
No, when I saw that, I was like, this game is done. This game is going to be terrible.
The problem is, okay, the animation hasn't been bad in the previous games.
It's because it's rushed. It's because literally, I bet you any money, they were working on a Mass Effect game as of 2014, and at some point, EA went, "No, you're doing this now," and they went.
Well, that's when everyone started like leaving, and BioWare no longer really has all the people that were there.
Yeah, and they just basically went, "No, we're making the game now.
Yeah.
You're gonna make it like this. Make sure you've seen Star Wars Episode 7, and now you make the game like this."
Oh well, this game is basically Star Wars Episode 7 meets The Witcher 3, and a bit of Dragon Age Inquisition in there.
Yeah, to which I'd imagine for anyone who is more familiar with Mass Effect series, they'd be like, "Why does this what?"
Yeah.
I'd imagine they'd be a bit confused because I was very confused because it looked like a mod for Dragon Age.
Yeah.
It honestly really looked like someone was like, "I really like Mass Effect. What if you put Mass Effect in Dragon Age?" And it looked like someone was like, "Oh, put the N7 suit on, and instead every time I shoot magic, it shoots my gun just like it." That's what it looks like. It looks like no effort has been put into this game.
Well, as I'm going to say, I think effort has been put into the combat, and that's literally it.
Because that's all that's all the reviews they looked at when looking at Mass Effect 3. They were like, "Whoa, it seems as if the only thing we need to improve on is the combat."
Yeah.
Other than that, everyone loved the game.
Yeah. So, obviously, I'm really not thinking that they're not in the right place. They're not thinking in the right place at all. So.
No, this is all just fluff.
And this is where I'm going to go on a subject that a grain of salt needs to be taken with this, okay?
Get your salt bay.
So, in an AMA from on Reddit, apparently some people in the EA marketing team have said they think Mass Effect Andromeda is going to fail. They want it gone and they want BioWare gone. Now, that's why I'm saying grain of salt. Because no one wants their cash cow to die.
Yeah. I would even debate whether whether Mass Effect is even a cash cow at this point. It's been so long since the last game.
It has been.
And it's been, you have to remember, not me, but to a lot of people who have not played Mass Effect 3, that game, according to everyone else, is terrible.
Yeah.
According to all the bad press it got. I don't think they're that quick to actually want to kill off the franchise. I think what has probably happened is EA wants a more generic and safe game. What is left of BioWare wants to make the best game possible, but I clearly think they are working with a very low budget.
Yeah.
And I think the marketing team is just like, just get this game out. I don't care. I don't think they want to kill it. I think they just do not give a shit. I think it's got to the point where they're just like, whatever, because I bet you any money that game has been in development hell since 2013.
Possibly.
I bet you they've been working on it. And my reaction to finding out the game comes out next month was genuine.
Yeah, no, I could tell.
Did not. I thought this game is still coming out. I've not seen gameplay. There's more gameplay for the Prey remake.
Yeah. And
that game looks terrible, in my opinion.
I'm still looking forward to Prey. I watched a 1 hour video on it.
I'll actually rephrase. Graphic wise, looks
graphics,
terrible to me. But this game looks janky as hell, and you're showing glitches in an E3 demo, and I mean, this game is probably dead on arrival, and maybe the market team knows that. Maybe someone has already looked at it and gone, that's not good. Or maybe the people of the marketing team are smart enough to know how the gaming industry is going to react, and they're going to go, okay, we're not going to waste my time on this.
But obviously, whether he was in there or if it's just someone claiming.
We don't know. Now we're just speculating, but that's essentially what I would think, whether or not this is going to be real or not. Because no one, I don't think any Mass Effect fan wants to see this game die. No. I don't think anyone is hoping this game is bad. I'm certainly not.
Yeah.
If this game is good, fine, whatever. But it is very unfortunate that higher powers and the powers that be are essentially killing it in that sense, because ever since this game has been confirmed, we've seen nothing other than a CG trailer and some gameplay. Like, and you look at other games. Let's go back to the Prey remake. You've seen an hour of gameplay, yeah?
Yeah, I watched that a few days ago.
Yeah, there are trailers.
Yeah.
You've had interviews with the people. What do we know about Mass Effect Andromeda? One of the aliens is called PD?
PB, yeah.
PB?
I know all the characters' names, but that's because I went looking for it.
Yeah. They probably don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you any money when this game comes out, it's a janky as hell game that needs fixing, and the only effort that has been put into it is the combat and the relationships. Scenes. Yes, the sex scenes, because you got to edit those, because we're appealing to horny 12-year-olds basically who have never who don't know about X-Hamter. And yes, I did go on X-Hamter before this podcast. No, I'm joking. But
oh, I'm still on there right now.
Yeah, you hear me typing.
I'm watching an episode of One Piece. They leaked it online.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an all leaked info. But yeah, it's very unfortunate. But I do think this game is dead on arrival, which is unfortunate. But part of my cynical side says if the game does come out bad, it should definitely fail.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds incredibly mean to then say to the team, you know, who might be out of a job, but if you're that good at your job, you could have made it work, and you will get more work once you are unfortunately fired, because it's EA after all. They have liquefied like 7 companies, and I even say this to Ace a lot of the time. I'm surprised BioWare's name is even still on the box.
So
because I forget the team who made like Dead Space. They made Dead Space, and then EA was like, right, we're buying you out.
Yeah.
PopCap, who made like Plants vs Zombies.
Yeah.
Their name is certainly not on the Plants vs Zombie video game anymore. They removed them very quickly.
BioWare do have obviously that new IP, which they've described
That's not happening.
Oh no! Well, considering EA has seen how much money Destiny has made, and the whole thing is this game is BioWare's Destiny. It's the experience. You know, that it gets updates over time. That's the kind of thing EA sees, and its eyes turn to money.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is keeping them afloat. If that fails, then I can see BioWare going down.
No, they will go down regardless. This could be the most successful game of all time. Yeah. They will still liquefy BioWare. Simply put. No joke. They will just get rid of them because that's what EA does. People say EA is evil, and EA is not just evil. EA wants to be the video game industry. That's the problem with EA.
It does.
If you've seen the head of EA, which I'm surprised he even shows his face, which goes to show how evil and how much balls he has, that he would show his... So you think Donald Trump is bad. This man only cares about money.
Yeah.
That's all he cares about. Yeah, Microsoft and Sony are greedy. They don't give a shit about the gamers. EA does not give a shit about human life.
Yeah.
Yeah? He's the kind of guy who would kill a puppy if it meant he was going to get £5. He wouldn't even think. Simply put. He would gun you down for £1. Simply put.
But yeah, so on to our next subject of Ace's Corner. So if people watch listen to the previous podcast, you might remember us talking about the comics industry.
Yes, and how it's apparently dying.
Yeah, or at least for Marvel.
We're
DC
exaggerating, obviously.
Doing fine. Yeah.
Which is a surprise. The only thing they do fine in.
Yeah. So it actually turns out that Marvel, after the crossover event Secret Empire, which I believe is being written by everyone's favourite Nick Spencer.
Oh, my favourite comic book writer.
Will be the last politically charged comic they, or at least do, for a while.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah. And that most of their characters, Captain America, Hulk, will be returned to their status quo.
Yeah.
The characters the fans like.
Relatable characters.
Yeah.
Characters who are fictional.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And not based on politics within reality that is oh so very depressing.
Yeah. Because when you co-opt people's characters that they've liked so much to push a political agenda, it pushes a resistance because they don't want that.
Oh.
I mean, I'm fine if you do Miss America with America Chavez and she's got her own political stuff because she's a new character. That's fine. I don't need to buy that if I don't want to. But if I want to buy something like Iron Man or Daredevil or, Captain America, and they're not, like, they're doing a complete opposite in terms of what their politics would have been, and it's being pushed with this narrative, that's when people stop buying.
Yeah, simply put.
And I have a quote that actually, it shows this. So this actually comes from Phil Boyle of Coliseum of Comics in Florida.
Okay. Is he a comic book store owner?
Sorry?
Is he a comic book store owner?
Yeah.
Okay.
His quote is, "To be crystal clear, we provide entertainment. We are not mouthpieces for any polarizing cause, nor is the shelf space for any organisation, left, right or centre. If you want to support fighting cancer or bullying, all good. No one is fighting for worse cancers or more bullying. If you want to put Planned Parenthood or the NRA on my stands, we're getting no traction in my stores. We are not for sale and we're not going to undermine the store's tranquility for your cause of the month. Get your politics off my stands. Get political figures off the covers. Get poorly disguised villains out your books. Get back to telling stories that don't remind people of the vitriol and bile being spewed from every direction. We have enough outlets for that."
Give that man an award.
Exactly, yeah. It's simple. People use the medium of comic books for escapism.
Yes.
The reason there was politics like Captain America punching Hitler, because they were in a war and it was propaganda.
Yeah.
That's what happens to media during war.
Mm-hmm.
Just go back to having fun.
Yeah.
And Marvel are doing that now, after Secret Empire.
Yeah, which was not needed. Yeah. I will say one thing before anyone decides that they are not going to get the point.
Yeah.
Just because comic book fans do not want to read about politics and all these other things that are happening in the world does not mean that they are ignorant or racist or sexist or homophobic. It simply means that they are not interested in the depression of reality. You know how freaking annoying things are down the road, just in general. There's people of certain walks of life who can't walk down the road or won't say anything or won't do anything simply because someone's going to say, "You're not allowed to do that because I don't like it."
Yeah.
That's not right. Unfortunately, technically by society's eyes, me and Ace should not be sitting here conversing and talking because we are of different walks of life, different preferences. Technically, we should be killing each other. One of us has already offended each other just by being here, and one of us is a racist, apparently.
Exactly.
In that sense, which is unfortunate. But it needs to stop, and I understand the hot button right now is, well, it's not even about black people anymore, it's about who's a Nazi, as I already hinted onto earlier, which is just so annoying. And there's one thing I will kind of say is, I don't know, it might sound weird, but since when did people get scared of being called like a racist? Like, it seems to be the one thing that truly strikes fear into people's hearts nowadays.
I think it's because that, like, being called racist now, let's say in 90s or 2000 something, someone says something that's dumb, they get called a racist. The only people who have heard someone being called a racist there is a small demographic, like people in a pub. You might not ever meet those people again.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, someone calls someone a racist on Twitter, everyone jumps to the feet of that person's a racist then. And then they get labelled it, and then their jobs see it. They might have not done, they might have just said something that's not even like, that could be interpreted as racism. Yeah. I mean, obviously if someone is being racist, calling them a racist is an obvious thing.
Yeah.
But when they're not doing anything, they get labelled it, and then they lose their job because of it. That's when people start obviously thinking, oh shit, I can't say anything.
Yeah. I mean, for once, I would just love to see someone say something racist, and they're like, "You be racist?" Yeah, I am.
People have started doing that.
I mean, because I'm just so sick of everyone just, like, literally gun to your head, like, "Oh, you do this." I'm not doing that. Okay, fine, I'll call you a racist then. Okay, sorry, just don't call me racist, I swear. It's like, that's the one thing that can stop this world, especially in this country as well. I mean, before, snow used to cripple this country, now it's being called a racist.
Yeah.
or not supporting Britics.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, I'm so bored and I'm so sick of this. America is a burning house, and I have a telescope and I'm watching it. If you want to come over here and talk, that's fine, but right now you can keep all this random stuff out of this and I will say whatever I want to. It's so ridiculous, and this politics and this political correctness, and it's like, I probably sound like an old person, but I'll say what I need to say. I don't care. I'm not homophobic or racist or anything like that. I don't care. As long as you're not being annoying, you're cool with me.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. I've met people who are gay, and I've met serial killers, and I've met rapists, and they've been okay people. You know why?
Because serial killers?
Yes, I have.
Are you serious?
I think you forget where I live.
Oh, okay.
But I've met those kinds of people, and they're okay. Do you know why I think they're okay? Because they haven't annoyed me.
Sure.
And just for the record, they have come out of jail from serving their time and wanted to at least try and start a new one.
Okay.
Just for the record, before anyone gets anything
I was
twisted.
very confused. I was like, wait, what?
Yes.
Okay.
But I am, it's very tiring, and I just try and avoid it. That's why we're not really talking about it, except for when it's relevant in terms of comic books. So, to sound like I'm from a certain part of America, get your politics out of my comics. And let's move on to our final section, which is going to be the video of the episode, which is going to be something very relaxing, mellow, cool, and chill. And that is going to be the music video for Little Dragon's High, which is a fantastically psychedelic and, as I already said, relaxing music video. So glad to have this artist back. So glad to see them actually do whatever, which is cool. And that's why it's a video of the episode.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this one up?
I think that's all I have, yeah.
Cool, yeah. Short podcast. That's how it goes sometimes. Like we said before, there's certain things we just can't be bothered to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it, and it's just pointless. And if you're literally playing yourself, then we're not gonna take part in that, essentially. But as my voice goes, I'll end it by saying I am the Angry Raccoon.
I'm Ace.
And we will see you on the next podcast.
Auf Dewey, son.
Alright, laters, guys.